What is getting back to masculinity? What is the crisis of masculinity that you think is going on? Are men? I mean, I will ask you to. I don't want to be so forthright and ask you to give advice to all men on this subject. Right. But if someone were to say it, like, I'm having trouble expressing myself, or I feel that I can't express myself because now I'm expected to be a certain way. How would you? Ask someone to navigate something like that, and this idea that masculinity and masculine traits are in crisis. How would you navigate that?
I think the biggest issue we have as guys is we don't have anybody to talk to. Really? And we also feel that so we're in the same peer group, right? I tell you I have this problem. For some reason, I am to believe that I'm immediately below you. Right? It's not an equality thing of that. I'm the guy with the problems. Right. And as men, you're not supposed to have problems, you're supposed to have solutions. Right. That's your role. That's why you're here. Lady might have problems, you solve it. And you're supposed to be this rock of Gibraltar that everybody can lean on. I think as guys, what we need to bring back is not the barroom talk, but you should be able to go even to an empty parking lot at like 2:00 in the morning with whoever you consider is a progressive set of the boys and talk about life and problems.
That's correct.
To normalize the idea that it's not just you that has these issues. It might be everybody else. And if you can't find the solution to that, I might be able to talk to you and help you with that. Or I can refer to you to somebody else.
Yeah. I guess it's about sharing your hopes and fears, right? And kind of putting it out there and telling them, this is what I'm afraid of. And then your friend, your peer group member will be like, this is what I'm afraid of. And then you can share.
Because I feel girls have a lot more support. They have
more open.
They're a lot more open with their emotions, and they have no issue with being even too emotional with their issues amongst their peer group. Guys, we just don't do that. And it has to come to either I need to talk to you over a drink, or I'm just not going to talk to you. Right. So you need some sort of inhibitor to let your guard down, essentially. And then, because I think at the end of the day, you can say, sorry, I got so emotional. My tongue is because I was strong.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Tell me a little bit about your role models in your life. They don't have to be necessarily people that you know, or maybe celebrities or people on Instagram, family members, mentors, your agent, whoever it was. Could you give us a little bit? You don't have name names if you don't feel comfortable.
No, that's good.
What have you learned from your mentors and your role models?
I think particularly role models was primarily, one was my uncle, and from what my mom told me was his life was very tumultuous and that he had quite a few jobs, and he loves his wife. He adores his family, and he's a very family-oriented man. It's just that no matter how difficult his job was or how much stress that took out on him, he would leave work at work and be a family man when he was a family man. And that was a statement that really vibrated with me on a very high frequency. But right now, doing what I do, I think male model-wise, David Gandy is one of the first male models who come and say, I think back when he started all male models, he was
the regional biggest, probably the biggest in that time, wasn't he?
I think he still pretty much is. I mean, given the payments and all that. But
was it the Dolce & Gabbana ad?
That's the one. He was the first one to say, I don't want to be a skinny model.
Right. Yes.
And he embraced the masculine body to the masculine body. So he shook the world. And the second thing, and the second person I think would be Andrew Peterson. Sorry, I think would be John Peterson, because, and it's not because of the lectures he gives, I think it's more to do that. There's one interview he has where he talks about, you don't understand why I do this. I do this because when I go to seminars and when I walk down the road, people come and tell me that I changed their life, and they just listen to a small snippet of something else that wasn't even through my main channel, and he just breaks down and starts crying in that interview. And as a human being, if you can't leave that amount of change in the world, if you're not a force for good, then what was the point? And I have this huge base, right? Would I rather be doing unnecessary half-naked dances? Or would I rather be trying to do something that makes people think? That interview really shook me. And I think that was that point where I was like, maybe what I'm doing is completely wrong. Right. And I took a backtrack from everything I was doing on social media, and I was inactive for about a month or two, both platforms. And that's what I wanted to change. I think that's how we got into this entire game.
Okay. So just to finish off with something a little more light, or not light, but just to ask, how is the dating scenario in Sri Lanka? Are formal dates a thing? Do you still have to pay for, as a man, do you have to pay for the date? How are the formalities nowadays?
The last date I went on, she insisted on paying.
Okay.
Which was very sweet. I think, though, still there's a very, it is a manly thing to pay for this. No, don't worry about it. You keep that up. I think that is still very much there, even in me.
Yeah.
And I'd love to. It is not that I'm buying your time. It's just that I enjoyed your company so much. It is a courtesy that I would love to.
Is it also a way of showing affection, that a man shows affection?
I think you have anything you want, sweetheart. Oh, you want a dessert too? It's also a very manly move to just, yeah. And they bring the checkbook and you're like, yeah, whatever, it's just here.
I'm not going to ask you for trade secrets, but are dating apps a thing still, or do you use dating apps, or where would you normally have you approached women in public, or have you, tell me about your last approach or something like that.
So I think on every dating app, there's a profile of mine.
Okay.
This is not one I have. But people have made
all your pictures.
So I'm very much on every app. It is just that I feel that entire idea of traditional love has a lot more to do with. So I just met you here. Would you like to get something? And even if it's a no, it still gets your heart racing.
That's right.
Right, as opposed to.
That's right.
So I think
So you're a fan of the public cold approach.
I am a fan of still approaching a girl and saying, hey, look, I think you're the most beautiful eyes, something would you like to? And seeing where it goes from there, because there's a lot of human emotion still in that. I think that's a lot more richer than just swiping left or swiping right.
Yeah, all the movies are still about that, right? It's very few movies about the swipe left, swipe right kind of thing. So Amanda, thanks a lot for being on Inside. I really appreciated your time, and I think it was a really interesting conversation. I think the audience is going to take a lot away from this. So appreciate your time.
Thanks for being on Inside.
Thank you.
Cheers.